Who will hear the cry of the poor? For the 30th Sunday in Ordinary Time, we hear that story about the self-righteous Pharisee and the tax collector, the repentant tax collector, if you will. And, the self-righteous Pharisee's all the way up at the front of the church telling God how awesome he is and how well he's kept his rules and all that stuff. And the tax collector's in the back of the church telling God how terrible he's been and how sorry he is. And, he's looking for God's mercy. The other one is telling God, I don't need your mercy. And, it's one of those things that just made me think today. We always have that joke about, Catholics like to sit in the back of the church. And, this isn't a universal, it's kind of a gross generalization, right? But, most people, would typically sit, not in the front row, right? And I think a lot of people would prefer to sit maybe in the back row. And, there's probably a lot of reasons for that. Maybe some, just don't want to be so involved in the action, but, and likewise for the people who sit in the front. It doesn't mean they're like the self-righteous Pharisee. Not everybody who sits in the front of the church wants to tell God how awesome they are, right? Maybe they know, more than anybody and that they need God's help and mercy. And, have just come to terms with that fact and said, Lord, I need you. I got to get as close to you as humanly possible. And I think in a similar way, what if underneath it all, in a lot of us, and I'm probably in the same boat. I'd probably sit closer to the back than the front. I don't have a choice these days, but I wonder if underneath it all isn't a certain sense of humility, a recognition that we're not worthy on our own merits to be present with the Lord, and we may not think about that consciously, but I wonder if that's not part of the tendency to sit, closer to the back of the church. But the Lord knows we're not worthy. That's why He invites us here, and really to lift us up and to unite us with Himself. And He so loves an honest sense of need in our hearts. When he prefers the poor, if you will, He's preferring those who recognize their need for dependence on Him. In our first reading, we hear that the Lord doesn't unjustly prefer the poor to the rich, but he what He prefers is our recognition of need in Him, because all of us are poor, in the sense that we can't provide for our own salvation. We can't provide for our own spiritual well-being, but we're totally dependent on Jesus. So, from the back of the church, to the front, we all need to recognize our need for Him, and that we need His mercy, we need His forgiveness, we need His help and His grace. And again, it's just a fun sketch to think about, where do I sit and why do I sit there, but regardless of where we do, let's open our hearts to recognize more and more our need for God's mercy, but also that He's invited us here to receive it. And His desire is to bring about for us not just a more peaceful heart, but a holier heart, right? One that recognizes His glory, His goodness, His desire for us to grow, and our desire to look out for other people. So let's be open to the Lord no matter where we are in the church, and appreciate His grace and His mercy today.